And we're live! Quarter Live Critics! Woo woo!
Woo!
Today is May 16th, and I'm sitting here today with my best friends, Patrick.
What's up?
And Grant.
Yo, why the enthusiasm for Patrick was so high and mine was in Grant.
Today on Quarter Life Critics, we have a very special episode. You know, we review the very best TV and film the world has to offer. And I'm trying to keep up my enthusiasm here, as my co-hosts have pointed out. So let's start off with a bang. Let's get inside the canon. Let's explode, because every episode has a director. And that director's getting in this goddamn canon, and he's going to guide us to a thrilling, entertaining, thought-provoking, hilarious discussion on an important piece of American media today. And the director is none other than Mr. Grant Farmer! Woo!
Cannonball!
10.
Light the fire!
Good. Thank you all. Thank you guys for joining. This week is a very special one. We are going to be going through a cult classic. We're continuing our director series of the Coen brothers. So I hope, our next choice in here is going to, further that theme.
Trilogy.
But we will see, it's just, if it doesn't continue the theme, then we might have to, just talk through kind of status on this podcast, but or on this show. But we're watching the Big Lebowski, a 1998 film directed by the Coen brothers, and I'm going to pass it off to the one and only Patrick to introduce this film.
Well, this one's an odd film, that's for sure. It's exactly how it says. It is the Big Lebowski. It's a big dude, Jeff the Dude Lebowski, who's mistaken for Jeffrey Lebowski, who is the Big Lebowski, which explains why he's roughed up and then has his precious and, really room-tying together rug peed on. And in search of recompense, the dude tracks down his namesake, the Jeffrey Lebowski, for those following, who offers him a job. His wife has been kidnapped, and he needs a reliable bagman. And, who's more reliable than the dude? Aided and hindered by his pals Walter Sobchak, a Vietnam vet, and Donnie, master of stupidity. They blunder through, whatever happens following that. And a lot does.
Well put there, Patrick.
Thank you.
There we go. Thank you. Yeah. So, any accolades for this film?
I think it won something at Sundance.
So it was
a film fest.
The creators and directors, Ethan and Joel Coen. Fun fact though, until 2003, only one of them could be credited with directing a film.
That ain't cool.
Because they weren't established as a duo. So you can't say Ethan and Joel Coen. They had to change their directing persona to the Coen brothers. And then 2003 onward, they were allowed to be directed by. Before that, you could only choose one or the other. So I forget which brother was selected for all the films.
Choose them
2003.
Both, or they just had to split up they couldn't be like Max and Jeff Farmer. But could they have both of their names fully spelled out?
One was one was directed and one produced until 2003.
Damn.
They couldn't have two directors or two producers. Well, I guess that you could have two producers, but they couldn't have two directors.
Rules are so silly.
Yeah. And they are actually more, kind of fun fact, they're one of 3 director duos to win an Oscar.
The other being the Sister Brothers.
Probably The Matrix.
The Sister Brothers.
The Sister Brothers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know the third though.
What are their names?
The Wazowski,
Depends when.
right?
Yeah.
Something like that. It's not Wazowski, though.
Who's
Mike,
asking?
Mike Wazowski.
Mike Wazowski.
It's Sully.
The cast for this film, right? Let's talk about the cast. We got Jeff Bridges, John Goodman. Speaking of Mike Wazowski, we have Sully from Monsters Inc. is John Goodman. We have Julianne Moore, Steve Buscemi, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Tara Reid, who I think this was probably her prime, was around this era, and Sam Elliott, the narrator, the cowboy, the one who takes us through this tale. Awards, there were 5 winners, 18 nominations, no Oscars, and the IMDb rating was 8.1 with 862,000 votes. So, watch this film. How did you describe that going on? There's a lot.
I don't remember, honestly. It's just
Yeah,
it's weird, it's funky, and it's elaborate.
Yeah, so the first segment we have here is kitschy comfort. So we just came off of a film that was much more serious, right? And so I just want to kind of highlight the differences between the two. So we watched No Country for Old Men, which was a kind of drama, thriller, action, very violent. And now we're watching arguably the most famous movie by the Coen brothers, The Big Lebowski. What did you think of the tone? You know, it's very different. If you were expecting No Country for Old Men, you would be a little taken aback that it was so different. So, Quinn, I'll hand it over to you. How was your viewing experience? Did you like the kitschy? Did you like the over the top? Did you like the pipe dream, crazy story, the crazy characters? Tell me your thoughts, Quinn.
So, as an individual who's seen this film before, I remember, I think I watched it back in high school, and I did not remember what happened at all. And but I immediately recognized the beginning, the opening monologue, which I'm 99% sure I chose as a monologue to memorize for some acting class in high school. And I was very familiar with that part. I mean, the whole Los Angeles, blah, 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 the dude. I knew it all. It was a weird flashback of memories that I was like, whoa, this is strange. I don't know what's going on here.
Are you some sort of Soviet agent and your dual life is switching?
Yeah, like someone incepted a memory into me.
I thought you did Glenn Ross.
We had to do a lot. We had to do a lot of monologues. That one I did.
That one you definitely did. That one I remember. Well, anyways.
So I was excited because I was like, damn, dude, I liked it enough to pick this opening monologue. And there's a lot of movies that I've kind of changed my mind about as you get older. And I don't remember what I thought of it before, but this time, this kitschy comfort, it wasn't as an enjoyable of a watch compared to No Country for Old Men, at least for me. Maybe I wasn't in the right mood, but a lot of the humor wasn't. I can see the cultness. You can see the whole universe. It's a unique film that I could appreciate, but it wasn't clicking. The kitschiness was maybe a little too over the top, and I couldn't get into it 100%. And yeah, that's kind of how I felt as I was going into this. Maybe I had different expectations because we're on this journey of the Coen brothers, and I was expecting something else. And I don't know. That's kind of where I stood.
Yeah, I was in a similar boat where I haven't seen it. This was a rewatch. I've probably seen it a handful of times, but I had forgotten what was going on. Really, I didn't know the plot
completely. The whole plot.
Yeah,
I mean,
whole plot. I think the only thing.
Remember the rug?
I remember that the initial briefcase was a fake, but that you can kind of infer a little bit. I was like, there's no money in that, I feel like. But I didn't know definitely. I was like, wait, I thought there was no money in that, but it takes a while for them to reveal it. So I kind of forgot about that anyways. No, this watch, I thought it was so much like my memories of what I thought the film was in my previous watches was totally different in this watch. I thought it was, I liked it a lot more. I picked up on more of the deeper elements. Like it didn't feel just like a pointless kind of comedy where I think watching it when I was younger in college, maybe high school, like everyone talks about the dude kind of being the man, and
It's a way of life. Yeah.
it's a way of life, and the dude abides, and there's a whole philosophy, I think there's a whole religion like dudism or something that's spawned off this film, and you watch it, and all all of these characters are losers. Like they are all just losers that have nothing going on in their lives, and they're thrown into this whirlwind of crazy crime and fraud. And my perceptions changed. Instead of being like wanting to be the dude, or the dude was like cool like hippie, I was like, dude was like a fucking loser. But it didn't take away from it actually, I think, elevated the film, and I thought it was a whole new perspective watching it, and I really did enjoy it, especially the comment. Like it is such a funny film in my opinion. Like I'm cracking up. I think the dialogue is just very strong. So I personally enjoyed it. But Pat, why don't you share your thoughts on if you enjoyed, your first, I guess the tone of the film. What do you think about the tone of this film?
I actually felt like it was pretty similar to No Country for Old Men. Like, not in the violence and everything, but just the way that you're thrown into something immediately happening that kind of hooks you, and don't really know what's going. Like the plot, like no one really knows what's going on the whole time. Like pretty much, it's just a bunch of confused people that you don't know them, and you're just seeing them interact with the world around them. It's slice of life in like a extra like special moments or whatever. So I feel like it was kind of similar in that way. And like I really liked everyone's clothing. I thought everything was like, the scenes were shot really well. And I thought it was pretty funny too. I was a little I was just generally confused by what was going on, because like I didn't know, like I was like, no money, and like I couldn't read that dude's homework. I'm like, what does this thing mean?
Yeah, that was confusing for sure.
That was a leap. Yeah.
Yeah, and but I still had a good time with it. It's very lighthearted. I don't know if I felt like I connected a little bit with some of the deeper things, but not really. So I feel like this is my first viewing. I'm on the, I'm seeing it for more of like the dudism, like very chill, just like rolling with the punches, that's coming at you through life. So we'll see how that develops throughout the rest of the podcast.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel very firm with anything. I am, flowing with the podcast.
You're channeling your inner dude.
Yeah, it's like it was funny. Might be funny later. And Pat, this is more than a podcast. I just want to say shout out to everyone watching on YouTube Live, the best place where you can watch us.
What are we calling it these days?
We're a show. We're a show. We're a full-fledged show with production and
we're
theatricals.
We're a micro network.
That's right. A micro network. Sorry, Grant, I cut you off there.
No, all good. Yeah, we are a show. So
micro network.
Yeah. Well, anything else you guys just first watched? You were unable to get into it.
I think I was like teetering on the edge of like this confusion. I like a lot of this is a deeper show, right? Or not we're a deep show. This is a deeper movie, and usually, I really kind of get into this life lesson, moral. You think Truman Show, Groundhog Day, even, personal favorite, Click. And this was on the same level, but kind of took a different approach of like, how do I approach life and what do I do? And I think just personally, like, I just don't resonate with a lot of, it's hard for me to be like, you know what, whatever happens and living your life in such a way that, consequences come later, just like a less thought out plan, if you will. Does that make sense?
I don't. Yeah, I mean, I don't think.
It still makes it funny. It still I mean, it wasn't a bad film. I wasn't like, damn, this is not as good. It's just like, wasn't reaching into those levels of like cult classic. Like, damn, oh my god, it's so brilliant. Like when I think of something like Office Space or something like that, cult classic to me is that connection is strong. Where I go, I can't imagine it any other way.
Yeah, maybe it's a little away from everyday, easily relatable experiences, and I think it is a little deeper than the surface, right? This film, so I think it's more than just a story about a dude who's just so we'll get into it, but before we do, speaking of cult classic, this film, regardless of if you fully got into it or not, there's no denying like the amount of references that spawned from this film. I mean, I think it's very inspiring and referenced still to this day. So on that thought, I assigned homework to our members.
We have homework?
We have homework.
Pop
it's
quiz.
due right now.
Let's do it.
Hand in your homework.
I gotta go to the bathroom.
Where are you going? But I wanted to share some favorite quotes and references. I think you can if you just go on the IMDb quotes and start scrolling down, like you'll recognize a lot of things in quotes that really, they spawned here. Chock full of them. So Quinn, why don't you share some of your favorite quotes from the Big Lebowski?
Sure, I can do that. I do have some of my favorite quotes, and I think I'll try and order them as from worst to best, but so I'm gonna try and act these out, and we'll see how it goes. This is my audition. This is my I'm gonna be multiple roles. Yeah, so I have two. I'm gonna do two exact quotes, and then one part that I thought was probably just the funniest part in the film, and it's a smaller part, but it really got me. So, all right, here's two of these. So, it's by our friend Jesus and the dude. He says, "Are you ready to get fucked, man? I see you rolled your way into the semis. Oh, Dios mío, man. Liam and me, we're gonna fuck you up." Goes, the best response. Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man. Brilliant. I mean, it's just like, imagine them in the writer's room, just like, what would the dude say? Brilliant line. Combined with, and I hope I'm not stealing other people's quotes, but you can also reenact them.
Mm-hmm. You're doing a good job.
Where who's in the car and they're questioning him, and or the old guy, whatever, and he's just going off. He's lost. He's as confused as I am. He goes, "I dropped off the money exactly as per. Look, man, I've got certain information. All right, certain things have come to light." And, has it ever occurred to you that instead of, running around blaming me, given the nature of all this new shit, this could be a lot more complex. I mean, it's just not right. It's just, it might just be a simple, what in the God's holy name are you blathering about? The Big Lebowski.
The Big Lebowski. Your impression there. Speaking of references, that gave me a very strong Rick Sanchez. Rick and
yeah.
Morty,
Similar
yeah,
dynamic going on.
yeah, the stuttering and it's like, I kind of felt on my first watch like the dude's kind of a victim in this, but he's kind of just like, I mean, you don't really feel that much sympathy for him. He's just kind of, he's stumbling, trying to like make stuff up, and they're both kind of selfish, but not like truly selfish. They're not like bad people, but they're not good people. It's kind of like
I thought the dude was a good person.
Okay.
I mean,
Why do you say that?
I felt like he was honest. He was the only like honest character. I feel like I don't know. I feel like bad things happened to him, but
What about Donnie?
What did he do with Donnie? That was bad.
No, wasn't he honest?
he's dead.
Well, Donnie wasn't really like a character, was he? Like he was just kind of like Donnie could have been like a cat, He was effectively like a dog that gets kicked. So yeah, that dog like it's a good dog, but it's like it just got kicked the whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's
But the dude was never. He was nice to Donnie.
Yeah, it's true.
maybe a way of representation. He's not representing himself. He's not taking things seriously. So you might think he's not a good guy.
He's also not like he's not actually. He's allowing himself to be bulldozed over a bit by Walt. Like he's not standing up. He's kind of always like falling over. So like he's not like maybe trying to do bad, but he's also not like a strong. He's just kind of like
he's going with the wind.
He can't. Well, even if he tries to like fight it, he just kind of falls. Like, he's floppy. He can't really. He has no volition.
He doesn't have the strongest. I agree, but like, I don't think he was a bad person though. Like I think
That's fair.
was trying to do the right thing.
He was following his own
way.
sense of justice. He took that rug.
Yeah, that's true. But reparation.
But that's what he thought. So those were two quotes I had that I've seen online, I've heard of. You've seen memes of them. People post that, very influenced or very propagated by internet culture. But the one part that I was dying over that is a little bit smaller, but I'm a big fan of just dumb humor, just like people being dumb.
This dude's about to take mine.
Is it?
I can see
Pat,
it in
why
your
don't you
eyes.
share
All
it,
right.
Pat? Why don't
All right, why don't you share it? Because no. I want to enjoy. No, because it could be. I want to hear Pat's. Round robin.
Okay.
If you don't say it, then I'll bring it up. But
okay. So mine is after. What's the dude's freaking name? All right. Our hero, the protagonist, has just been drugged. He wakes up. He's not sure where he is. He's in the fucking cop station in Malibu, getting harassed. He was trying to help the guy out, the pornographic, entertainment producer, Treehorn or whatever his name is. And this Malibu douchebag cop has his wallet, and he pulls out his Ralph's card. Is this your only ID? I know my rights, man.
He has nothing else in his wallet.
I was just dying at that, dude. Because it's just like so stupid.
Yeah.
Quinn, was that the one?
that was not it.
Okay, nice.
That was
nice.
also
nice.
dumb humor, but that was not it.
Okay. Okay, take it back. Round robin.
Okay, round robin. I will conclude with mine.
wait.
Oh no! Grant.
Oh,
I
we
did
going
too.
all the way around.
Oh, I thought the
Okay,
director was in the canon. My bad.
I hopefully this isn't yours. I don't think this. Here, I'll share the one.
This should be a
I
good thing.
think is yours.
Okay.
And
Ooh.
I'll keep that one and I'll share the other one.
Interesting.
So, this is after he's taken a bath after it's hard to chronologically, but
You see his toes after the
the
toes.
nihilist, the nihilist come back while he's taking a bath, and he's like stoned, and you're like, what the fuck? And they drop the ferret in the tub, and he's
Marmot.
yeah, I know. He's like going back, and then he's talking to Walter later about it, and Walter's asking, and he's concerned about the marmot. He's like, "What are you, a fucking park ranger now? Who gives a shit about the fucking marmot?" So that was a quote that cracked me up there.
Emily
It's
was
not it.
concerned about the marmot.
Yeah, who gives a fuck about the marmot? He's talking about chopping off his Johnson. So, all right. I think I know Quinn's, but let's see.
All right. Well, so this is the last one I have, and I don't even have an exact quote for it, but this is when this actually the joke makes an appearance twice in the film, and it's very simple. And I just laugh I laugh thinking about it right now when they're dropping off the briefcase of money, and it's just very explicitly said, bring the money, come alone. And he's on the phone multiple times, and he's like, yeah, where do you want us to go? And they're like, us. Who the fuck is us? Like, it does it again later in the film, and it's like, oh my god, dude.
What kind of weed did he call it? Or like the poor, like the. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it was like
red.
yeah, I don't know. He had like some explanation for like the. I don't know. I don't know. It's all right.
Well, do you have one more?
Sure. Oh, I do. Yeah. I got 3 more, but doesn't matter.
We'll round robin, and then you can double header.
Okay, I'll just do one because the first one it's not that good. This one's good though. This one's good. So, our boy, our protagonist, the hero, the Big L. He's real. He needs a ride, I think, and what's pissing him off? That blue Volkswagen that's been following him for like a week, and he's just ignored because who cares? It haven't really bothered him. So he goes out there and he's like, who the fuck are you? Like, they get in each other's face. Turns out it's a private investigator trying to find Jeffrey Lebowski's wife, who's like a farm girl from Indiana or something. Maybe, I don't know. Doesn't matter. But
I thought his daughter.
Bunny?
Yes. Yeah, trying to find Bunny, right?
Oh. Really?
His wife?
I don't think they were trying to find Bunny.
What was he there?
Continue. Oh.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't
confusing movie. Nothing. What was he doing there? Anyway, he needs to clarify with Maud Lebowski, who he just banged. Who she is in his life. He's like, listen, buddy. She's not my special lady. She's my fucking lady friend. I'm just helping her conceive, man. It's good. And I was just cracking up because.
And it's like, see, this is why I feel like he's like, I guess he's not like a bad person, but he like, when he has something, he like grasps it, and like he's like trying to show off, even though he just kind of stumbled upon this, and just like this lady just used him essentially, and he's like using it as like ammunition. And a theme, I don't know if you guys picked up on it, but the dude reuses other people's quotes like all the time. Like something will happen 2 scenes later, and then he'll use it like her life is in your hands. Like he reused that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. There's a lot. I didn't write it all down, but he kind of just is a little bit of a leech, and he's not really thinking for himself. He just got stoned all the time and just repeating shit. So whatever comes to him. I think there was like George H.W. Bush on the radio, and he's like, this aggression will not stand. And then the next time the dude is in front of Big Lebowski, he's like, this aggression will not stand. He's just man,
he's very like marketing, marketing. He's just he's a good test subject. You know, he just internalized
Yeah.
all of it.
Yeah. Well, one of mine, that my last one that I wanted to share was when they went to the kid, um, and they show up at this house where one, the kid's dad is like an author of like, I think like war novels that Walter loves. He's like trying to talk to him, but he's like a vegetable on like a massive breathing machine. And then they're interrogating the kid, um, because they think that he stole the car, so they think he has the briefcase, which doesn't have any money in it, but they don't know this at the time. So they think he has the money. And so they're arguing with their kid. They're threatening him. This is another instance where the dude says, they'll cut your dick off. Like, he's just spitting what they said to him. And then Walter, uh, as he does, takes things into his own hands because he's very sure of himself and thinks he like has it all figured out. And he goes, there's a brand new car outside. And he just gets a crowbar, starts destroying this car with alarms going off while the kid's just inside, like not even outside. And he's like, "This is what happens when you fuck a stranger in the ass. This is what happens when you fuck a stranger in the ass." And then, of course, another neighbor comes out, and it's like, "What the fuck? This is my car. Like, I just bought this yesterday." And then he starts destroying his car. And then the next scene, they're driving with no windshield, eating burgers.
In and out. It's so close.
Because that's the only thing they knew about this kid's location. It was close to an In-N-Out. Just like, it's hilarious. I think it's funny. And I felt like that scene. Isn't there a scene in South Park where Cartman is like yelling to his mom? He's like, "This is, you're fucking me. This is what it feels to, you're fucking me in the ass," or something like that.
Yeah, I think when
like an iPad or something.
Yeah, he wants to. I think he needs to buy an iPad or
She
like a
gets him,
PS5
like, an
or
Android-
something.
I think she gets him an Android tablet
Mm,
instead of an iPad. "You're fucking me, mom," and he just he goes off. But I feel like that was probably inspired a little bit by this. It's just, very
He's-
Do you think
iconic.
Walter is HIV?
No.
Okay.
But we thought we would repeat each other's, but it just goes to show you how full of famous, like, oh, I've heard this before. This is where it's from, and it's hilarious. It's just, there's so many. It almost feels like it's like every other scene. There's like a famous quote that you recognize. So, thank you guys for sharing. You got two others you want to share?
One
Patrick?
more.
One more.
And it ties into Quinn's. So this is Walter. He's indignant. They're
As he usually is.
Yes, as he usually is. They are going to the Jeffrey Lebowski's estate after they've discovered that there was no money and they've been had. And whatever that Philip Seymour Hoff, the dweeb, he's Brant, yes. He was like, "Who are you?" And it's funny because, they should know who he was because he's been like handling his money or whatever, and has been with the dude this whole time, but they don't know who he is because the dude's supposed to be alone. And he's like, "Who am I? I'm a fucking veteran."
Walter can't stop talking about the fucking Vietnam War.
Because he got HIV there and he's scarred because he fucked a stranger in the ass and he lost his family because of that.
Is that some fan
Is that
theory?
your theory?
I don't know. I just couldn't. I was like, does he have HIV? Because he just kept hitting. He's like, really, like, don't fuck a stranger in the ass because, like, your life is ruined.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, just to go a little bit further of how kind of sad and pathetic these are. Like Walter, for instance, is Jewish. He still goes to the same synagogue of his ex-wife, who is really Jewish. He wasn't born Jewish, but he remains his faith and doesn't do anything on Saturdays and still shows up. It's pretty simpy attitude, and he takes care of her dog when she's vacationing with her,
It's a show
her
dog.
boyfriend.
I think it's very sad, and it just shows. It's like a. Usually, movies aren't made about people like this who are lonely and don't have a lot going for them. And Walter and the dude, that's they're best friends. That's all they've got. They got Donnie's remains. Like these are just people that society they don't tell stories about, and but that's like who you go to like most of America, like it's probably more likely to be like the dude than it is to be like anyone from No Country from Old Men or whatever else we've watched. So it's interesting, but yeah,
It's
they
true.
are.
On that note, I want to transition to another quote, which is by Walter, and this is just paraphrasing it, but he says, "I mean, say what you want about the tenets of National Socialism, dude. At least it's an ethos." So the dude is the only character really who's doesn't have really a belief.
Ethos-less?
Yeah, an ethos. I guess the nihilists as well. But they're kind of like,
That is an ethos.
no, that was what this quote was. Is nihilism is he was the most he hated nihilism the most because it's not an ethos,
Right.
It's something.
Well, so what would be Walter's ethos?
He's military.
Military, the
patriot.
Judaism.
Yeah, Judaism.
It's very
Nationalistic.
The bowling rules, you stepped over that line, I'm gonna fucking shoot you.
Yeah, reactionary. But
He wasn't reacting; they were just the rules. Grant, those are.
Yeah.
Rules are rules.
When he refused, they had the argument in the diner, and he refused to leave, and he's like,
I'm enjoying my coffee.
I'm finished my coffee." Everyone's like, you've been there where you're like, okay, you're freaking out. But yeah, what? At least it's an ethos. Speaking of ethoses, what ethi? I don't know what the plural of ethos is, but what was this movie about in terms of deeper themes? The one we were just talking about that I want to throw out there and just kind of spur a little discussion is masculinity. I think is a huge it's a huge theme here. Most of the males characters in this film are very kind of flimsy and not your typical man. They're kind of losers, and they're not I feel like they don't have any power compared to if you look at the daughter, right? She is like the matriarch. She has the most power and say in this film. And it's kind of funny how many male characters, even side characters, are introduced, and they're all just kind of like wimpy dweebs. Like even the private investigator guy, like he kind of just folded and he like told him, and he was like blah blah blah, and even the Big Lebowski is doesn't have any money, and he is mooching off his daughter, who is the kind of queen in this, who's kind of calling the shots, right? So did you guys pick up on any of that, and what do you think of gender roles, masculinity, femininity, in addition to just to get your brains spinning a little bit, the amount of sexual innuendos and sexual references in this film is absolutely crazy. Like it's chock full of just sex references, chopping dicks off. She's talking about how men are scared when they hear the word vagina. Many of the characters, their names, I have Kunkel, who's kind of like cunt. You got Kunstler, and you have Knutson, like Kuntutson. A lot of these, there's a lot of references. Just you got the pornos,
the fingering the bowling balls.
The bowling balls, one of my favorite. When you think like, maybe the Lebowski is finally being smart and using, this was kind of like a misdirection. He's like, you're like, oh wow, he's starting to figure stuff out, is when the guy was taking a note with a pen and ripped it off, and he went over there and he filled it out with pencil. And the dude just had drawn like a guy with a huge dick and walked away. Like, but anyways, I'm ranting a little bit so you guys can think about some themes here. So I'm gonna hand it off to Quinn.
Yeah.
Any thing you pick up on gender or any other themes that could be deeper in this film that you want to discuss?
As far as masculinity goes, it wasn't something that I thought of while watching the film. Even a funny quote that I wrote down that kind of relates to it is I think it was when Walter, I forgot who said it, when they said strong men also cry.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
Big
Walter?
Old
Lebowski.
dude.
Big
Big
Lebowski.
Lebowski.
Oh, Big
Right when
Lebowski.
Bunny was kidnapped.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was kind of it was a humorous moment, but probably plays into these themes a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think there is kind of typical masculine character.
Oh, and just to add on
Yeah.
that, when there was a masculine character, they were very much like the authority character. So with the police, a few times, the Big Lebowski actually plays this, even though he's kind of a dweeb himself. But they always hate or just really look down upon like the dude's lifestyle, right? Like when you had the two cops come in when his car was stolen, one of the cops was kind of dweeby as well with the dude, and the other cop was just like looking at him and like looking around like, oh, this guy fucking lived like this. But
The
anyways,
taxi driver.
yeah, the
like the
taxi
Eagles.
driver. When he gets his car back, the cop, he asks if he had any leads, and the guy just starts cracking up like, leads? Like, are you kidding me?
Got
Here's
4
your
detectives on it.
Yeah, we got 4 detectives on this. Yeah, so, well, any themes?
I mean, I think I was looking up more quotes too, and even they're kind of more outright with it. Where the Big Lebowski is asking, like what does it take to be a man? Like what makes a man? Like is it the being prepared to do the right thing, whatever the cost? Isn't that what makes a man? And no one's are people going to those extremes to? Not really. I mean, people are kind of weaseling themselves around it, and I don't
In
know.
this film, you
Walter's
mean?
yelling. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the rich guy. I mean, he does have some money, but he's not willing to give up the money. Walter's kind of screaming, being angry. The dude doesn't really do much, so I guess no one's really being a man in a typical man's sense. What do you think, Pat?
I don't know. I feel like no one. I think it just kind of goes back to like no one is even like knows what's going on. Everyone, it's just a bunch of confused people who are in the bottom 30%. Everyone's kind of an undesirable. Even like the authority figures. It's like a cab driver, a crooked cop who's taking money from like a porn
Not
executive.
in my neighborhood.
Yeah, like all right, keep the porn people safe. That's they're like extorting money and beating people up. Yeah, that's what we want to do. And then like like a porn director, like so like that's an ethos. I don't know. It felt like just was like you're looking at this bottom 30% of society and just being like, ooh, it's not pretty down there.
Yeah, even the like the nihilists, like willing to chop off their toe for some money and just didn't really show much. Yeah, they were pretty blank slates too. Um, yeah,
And
it's
all of this
interesting.
I mean, spearheaded by Maud, who seems to be confident, in charge,
Yep.
very manly. So maybe not. I don't know. Bunny was kind of outside. I mean, she had the most freedom, I guess. She was driving around just doing whatever, but I don't know if she was the most manly.
Yeah. No, and her license plate this was like an Easter egg, but I forget what the word is. It means like castrated bunny rabbit. Like
Really? Oh, really?
a vapin or a lapin, Lapin. Um,
It's French for rabbit.
This is what.
I read an Easter egg. It was like he wrote a check at the grocery store, and it was for like 2 days in advance. So he like it was for 60 cents. He wrote it for the 11th, and the next is like his landlord was like, "Tomorrow's the 10th. Like need the rent." And but he was writing checks for like it's not even gonna work. For 60, he just doesn't even know what day it is.
He doesn't, because he does it when he's talking to the Big Lebowski. He doesn't know.
Yeah, the first thing he writes a check for like the milk carton.
Pet said it wasn't even the right day.
It was in the future, 2 days.
So I don't know what happens to a check, or it's just wrong. He's just done. I think it'll still work.
No, you can't cash a check before the date.
Okay.
So they gotta wait 2 days.
But maybe I don't think it was intentional. He just doesn't know what day it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and you'll find a lot of other themes. There's a lot of perspectives kind of placed, or lenses, that you can apply to the Big Lebowski. I think one that is thrown around is Alice in Wonderland, because they're chasing Bunny and Mauve. What's her name? Mauve?
Maud.
Maud is kind of seen as like the Red Queen, where instead of off with their heads, she's like leading kind of the scissor people but it's off with your Johnson instead. So that's one that's maybe on subsequent watches you might pick up on. And I talked about this a little bit, but people kind of view the dude as floating around without an ethos. And so you have a pacifist, you have fascist, reactionary, nihilist, nymphos, and then Lebowski doesn't really have anything. And so that's kind of a take as well. But anything else in terms of deeper meaning that we want to talk about here?
Does the dude learn anything in the end, or it's just
I mean, what's there to learn? He just got like fucked up. Like none of it was his fault.
I don't know.
And
I'm just saying, like, a lot of stories have a lot of you've realized something, you've changed something in your life, you've seen the error of your ways.
I think you could argue he has accepted his life, because the dude abides is not until the end, where he kind of accepts Walter for who he is, maybe, and these other identities. Everyone, he doesn't have an ethos, but he accepts others for their ethos. Their
strikes and gutters, baby.
Yeah. Oh, an Easter egg. Speaking of, Donnie was shown every single time they showed him bowl, he got a strike until his last bowl, where there was one pin that just kind of swirled around and never went down. And then afterwards, he was kind of like rubbing his arm, and then he had a heart attack the next scene. So the bad omen. The only time he didn't get a strike.
Those pins.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So a lot of Easter eggs, it's a very, I think, well done film here. And speaking of, you mentioned I want to just talk about, since this is the second film in this director series, we can call it, of the Coen brothers. It might be the second of third. I'm unsure. I'm not the director for next time, but we'll have to see. So, you were talking about similarities, Patrick. I'll hand it over to Quinn.
Mhm.
What similarities and differences did you see in this film? We talked a lot about the differences. You
Mhm.
weren't expecting this film after No Country for Old Men. Why? Why not? What?
Well, the elephant in the room is, completely different content-wise. Different genre,
Hmm.
a different, uh, just a different type of movie. But I think what stays the same is a lot of this thoughtfulness, a lot of this well-crafted dialogue, well thought out scenes. Things. I would say every scene has meaning and fits in, and there isn't any fluff. Things are tight and put together, and there are more elements, I feel like, of a good director or screenwriter, a good script, good editing, good cinematography, just a well kind of a polished product, versus like a style. I don't know. I feel like it was early for me to tell like a personal styling versus just like that was it's obvious. Oh, this was tested. This was.
I don't know. I would argue that the films are pretty similar. I think the premise is largely the same in a different setting. Um, you have really money and power corrupting, and as Pat mentioned, being spun off on this journey that's really out of your hands and you're not capable of handling, right? Like, you have the dude who it stumbles to him. It falls in his lap, this story where he follows, and now he's in it for the money and thinks they can, get something good out of this. And ultimately they don't. And there's a lot of good and bad that happens that just feels like the whole time you just feel like we're moving, and we're moving, and we're moving. And I think
And I
the
don't know where
same,
we're going.
and I don't know, and I feel like No Country for Old Men was the same exact thing, where you have this premise of him finding the money, and you know what he wants to do, but everything you're just it's a butterfly effect, and it's just a waterfall, and you're going down. And like one, I agree with you. One is this, not only the setting but the tone of the movie. One's funny and making dick jokes and sexual references, and the other is a much more serious setting. But I think that there is a lot of similarities between philosophy and themes that I've already begun to pick up with these two. And that's why I'm just excited for next time to just continue to dive into this the Coen Brothers manifesto. So what about you, Patrick?
Yeah, I think it's cool. I think it's cool what they've done. And I feel like whatever they do, it feels really authentic. And like, even I don't know, I like the clothing a lot. It felt so like grimy LA. Like, just
Mm-hmm.
the bowling clothes were so funny. Jesus's outfits, so funny.
Yeah.
But like, could totally see that just being real. And I also like that they recycle a lot of their actors. Like, even like the lower, like the nihilist, one of the nihilist guys was like the bad guy in Fargo. Steve Buscemi's been in like 9 of their films. Like,
Yeah.
they use like it's like like once you're in, you're kind of in. George Clooney's in a
Clooney.
bunch. Yeah. The Goodman guy, Walter, he's in a bunch.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's kind of cool. So I feel like they get this rapport, and it makes it feel like very natural and authentic. And I think that's what they're going for. So while it is similar, it's like, it also feels completely different and very fresh because they like dove into this different like little ecosystem.
Agreed. Yeah, just fun fact about the clothing, to pick out Jeff Bridges' Or the dude's clothes. They just went to Jeff Bridges' closet, and the passengers I was looking through and was like, oh, "This is good. We'll take this robe. This is good. This is this T-shirt," and that's how they didn't buy any costume for Jeff.
And the sweater is like on sale every year.
It's so yeah, it's an
I don't.
It's Pendleton, which is like a
Yeah.
nice brand. It's an
Yeah. Yeah.
expensive sweater. It's like $450.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, well,
Is it a cardigan or a sweater?
The cardigan is a sweater.
I know, but well, a cardigan subset of a sweater, open faced.
yeah.
Okay, all right. Just
So it's both.
Did you
were
guys know
more
I
specific.
was the dude for Halloween?
did.
I think I remember that.
That was good. I didn't have the sweater though.
I feel like the one thing about this film, which when you were saying like cult classic, I feel like it doesn't have the staying power that it did. I feel like it caught a moment, but I feel like it like what Quinn was saying with like Office Space, it's not like pervasive to keep that going.
I don't know. I think Office Space is also not a lot of people our age have watched it or know it. Unfortunately, when I was but I agree with you too with the Big Lebowski. I was the dude with like everyone was my age. I was probably like 23 or something. No, I don't think one person at like a Halloween party of like 25 people knew who I was.
Yeah, I feel
I
like
was
it's like
I was like, the dude, what? The fuck? The Big Lebowski. Like, I thought it was such a classic. Like, the dude abides.
yeah, I feel like
At least you know that, right? Like, you should.
I don't know what
Okay,
you're
okay.
talking
At the
about, bro.
very
You've had
least,
too much
even
to
if you
drink.
haven't seen it, I feel like people know the dude. I guess not.
I don't
though,
know.
'cause they don't.
It's tough. Depends who you're talking to.
Well, we're talking to you next about the Coen Brothers. What do you think?
What do you mean? What do I think?
I guess.
I already gave my thoughts.
He did go first.
Yeah, you did go first. Let's put you on the spot again.
I do agree with you. I mean, a lot of the points that you make. I think they make sense that like the movies are
They're more similar than you
connected in a
might
lot of
think.
themes. What?
They're more similar than you might think, but it
Right,
took
I
me-
think I took it as,
me to
like-
like go back. I didn't recognize all these themes. Like, this is the same movie. Like, I had to kind of take a step back and do some analysis.
Yeah, I think you did a good job, Grant.
Thanks.
Yeah, they're similar. That's all she wrote.
And with that, we can button up. Let's see if I got anything else on my list. Oh, I have one quote from Walter. Walter has so many quotes. He fucking walks. I've never been more sure of anything in my life. He storms up. And he said that like 3 times until he's like, I've never been more sure. Yeah. And then
He called him something too. It was like a spud wub or something. Like, I don't know what he said.
Oh yeah, some like sympathy or like some fake handicap derogatory shit.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know what that was, but that was rude.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot, and I think I need to watch it again, but there's some things I still don't get, the unconscious scenes. He got knocked out twice and we saw it was like a pipe dream, and it
like a
was like a
theater.
musical.
Boobs flying
yeah.
around.
Yeah, with the scissors.
Him looking up the addresses of everyone.
Yeah. And I'm still a little bit confused. Like I think the running theories that Maud hired the nihilists because there is a photo of the big scissor in her studio on the wall that kind of ties them together, and she had the album of them, so like she knew them. So
I think like
that's
she's
kind of the theory.
cutting the Big Lebowski out of the trust. It's all about the trust.
Mhm.
And I think by kidnapping her, I don't
Well,
know what
why-
happened. He
I-
takes
I-
the money out of the trust, so he gives the money back. I don't fucking know.
Maybe she gets him for like fraud or something because he's like stealing from the trust.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and the bunny was. She's like,
Palm Springs,
how much does she charge for a blowjob?
$1,000 bucks.
$1,000.
$1,000.
I
But
think
if
you
Brant
could negotiate
watches,
with
it's
her.
extra. And then
I think she'd be
leaves.
up for negotiations.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, our final segment, the one, the only GPQ patented review. Quinn, can you kick us off with this one?
Is that the review where we decide whether the true rating of the Big Lebowski is over or under the IMDb rating?
That's the one and only.
Oh,
So,
nice.
We were saying
And-
that
8.1 with 862,000 votes on IMDb. Holy shit.
we'll save Quinn for last.
Okay.
Best for last. Just because I don't know I feel like we'll see. I feel like
Okay.
it's keep it interesting. I'm gonna go over. I think it's a very unique film. I like films like this. I don't think I can say I've seen like there's many films like it. So I think uniqueness is
You're the dude for
Positive.
Halloween.
the dude for Halloween. Uniqueness is a positive if it's not just like trash uniqueness, right? Like this is good and it's unique. So I get props there. And the only regret is next time I'll be smoking a doobie and drinking White Russians. Some
You gotta have that like
Caucasians.
thing, that like the little
Yeah,
joint
yeah,
holder.
this clip. When I had long hair, I actually got the clips. He uses a clip on the side of his head. I was inspired by him. See, I just thought when I watched it before, I was just like, the dude, he's the dude. And like now I watch it, I'm like, this guy's like is such a loser.
He's
Like
the
I do
dude.
not want to be this guy. But it is a little sad, But anyways, I'm going over, and I'm gonna hand it over to Patrick.
I'm gonna go just under. I think it was kind of trying. I don't know. I think it was a good comedy, but not a great comedy. I think it was a good investigation, not a great investigation, and it had so many elements that was good, but not great. And 8.1, that's
in great territory.
that is great territory. It's in the top 250. And I don't know. It's definitely, I'm also like comparing it to the other Coen Brothers films which I've seen that are similar to it, and I'm like, I feel like maybe I just got those a little bit more. Maybe they're a little more straightforward, maybe they weren't trying to do as much, a little bit more focused, This one
Maybe
was
a little bit more simple, the complex ones just you can't digest.
I'm a simple. I told you, right? That was the first sentence I think I said. I was like, I was a little confused.
It is confusing. I think it's purposeful. I heard people, how the cop was laughing in his face about the leads. People have tied that to relate and be meta and like, oh, you think there's leads in this film? There's nothing. Like it's not supposed to. You're not getting the film. There's not. They're not solving it. So give up. There's no leads. So yeah. All right, under and Pat Quinn to top us off.
I'm gonna go under as well. I echo a lot of the same thoughts. See, double downer. Where I thought it was good, wasn't great, and maybe over time that'll change. A lot of these things, they just need some time to stew, but maybe they don't. Maybe I'll always think it's just good.
A pile of crap.
Pile of crap. Little KLC double downer. So that's where I'm putting it.
Nice. Well, thank you, boys, for
Shattering your dreams.
for the time, for the conversation, the discussion. This is good. Thanks for going with the flow on this one, guys. Really, just rolling with the punches here.
The micro network abides.
Yeah. So, next week,
Next week.
next week, or next show, I should
Next
say.
show.
We are switching directors. And are we switching both directors? As in, we don't know, but we're handing it off to the one, the only, Quinn McGill.
Hello. All right. Well, I got a question for you boys. I got a question.
Are y'all ready for another?
Your
season
answer will determine the fate of the show.
Whoa.
It's like a choose your adventure game.
It is kind of. And there's some rules that I have in the back of my head. So I'm just going to ask a simple question.
Grant's going to be mad at me. Actually, be mad at Quinn.
Grant's heavily implied that he wants to continue or at least end this trilogy of Coen Brothers films in some way, shape, or form. I came into the show.
Just like your opinion.
Dude.
I wasn't getting that. Yeah, I don't know.
I came into the show not thinking that I have something fresh, something unique, something
Better.
that a type of film we've never watched before. So that's option A. Which it'll always stay in the back.
Never watched before.
Walk in the back of our heads. Or we go with option B. And option A will stay there, probably come up next time, but option B will be another Coen Brothers film. So I'm going to ask you, Grant, you want option A? Or you want option B?
If we're going to get the other one, I enjoy, I think I learn so much about films and cinematography from learning different styles of, cinematographers and directors. So I'm going to
option B, it is.
Option B.
Patrick?
Yeah, let's
option B.
Can't
Okay,
break Grant's heart twice.
I know. You're like 50-50 means option A.
Double downer. The double downer.
No, it makes sense. I was googling. I was trying to figure out which film I can pick, and it's probably one that you may have seen before. But I'm gonna go with probably the most famous one, Fargo.
Ooh.
Because TV show? Are we doing all 5 seasons?
No, not the TV show. I have seen the TV show, or at least most of it. I think is it still on?
I don't know.
Anyways, but I've never seen the movie, which it was sort of based on. Just sort of in name, likeness, and content. So, what a better way to learn about films and wrap up our Coen Brothers series with a deep dive into Fargo for next time.
And do you mind introducing it, or do you want me to?
You can introduce it if you want. It's going to take... Yeah.
I just want to read a blurb.
Read a blurb.
Fargo is a 1996 black comedy crime written, directed, produced, and edited by Joel and Ethan Coen. Frances McDormand, who this I feel like is her a very famous role of hers, is Fargo. Oh, how did I lose this? Wait, there we go. Stars as Marge Gunderson, a pregnant Minnesota police chief investigating a triple homicide that takes place after a desperate car salesman hires 2 criminals, Steve Buscemi and Peter Stormare.
Nihilist 1? And Donnie and Nihilist 1.
Yeah. To kidnap his wife in order to extort a hefty ransom from her wealthy father. This film was American and British co-production. Okay.
I will say, Grant, this is kind of what I was alluding to earlier. Their names are both named as directors, just separated. They're not the Coen brothers, but it's Joel Coen and Ethan Coen.
No, look at the side though. Directed by, written by both, and produced by. So it's directed by Joel, produced by Ethan, written by both.
I'm seeing director both of them. Fargo. What do you see, Pat?
I'm sure if you look at the movie though.
We'll find out when we look at the credits. Let's go to the source material.
Because
what's in the code?
They could have retroactively changed it,
Wikipedia. Anyone can edit Wikipedia.
No, but Wikipedia says directed by, then written by both, and produced by on like the panel, like the summary.
Mm-hmm.
I see
Panel?
that. Yeah. And then the first line says film written, directed, produced, and edited. And
IMDb
I
has
mean,
them both, though.
I think they did both write and direct it, but it's the official credits that they don't have. They were
I know what you're putting down.
Mhm.
We'll take a look at the film and we're gonna solve this goddamn mystery.
Mhm.
That because IMDb says otherwise
They just
too.
like put it back. Like they just like yeah, they were both
Right, they did it both. Some revisionist history.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
I'm just looking through Wiki, and
I
until
know.
2004, this is the first time they're both on the directed and the side panel. So,
I will admit when I'm wrong.
anyways, we'll check it out, and so will our audience. We hope. So, why don't you guys tell us who directed?
Who's the director?
Who directed Fargo? Was it Joel or Ethan or both? Was
Maybe
it
a
Quinn
third
McHale?
brother.
Patrick
Hmm?
Manning?
As an infant, I was more than capable to take on this task.
Yeah, so until next time, next week, we will see you with Fargo, directed, produced, and written by Joel and Ethan Cohen. Yeah, in the meantime, you can find our social media and follow us. Instagram.
What are you blabbering about?
Our Instagram is Quarter Life Critics is the handle. And from there, you can click on our YouTube and find our show, which is every 2 weeks if life doesn't get in the way. And hope to see you next time. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.